Hey guys, this is Fishy Jokaha from Fishy Poker. We're going to talk about some things not to do with the poker tables from a session I had yesterday. I started playing the session after having a few beers, so the thinking was kind of impaired. And you might be able to see that here in this first hand we talk about. So I sit down at the table, probably 10 minutes in, I pick up a suited ace on the big blind. And I noticed one of these guys over here on this table is playing like really crazy, just pop betting everything. So let's kind of see how this hand unfolds. So open from the cutoff, got some calls. We're just playing this in real time so I can pause it if we need to talk about anything more. So 5 people to the flop. I call this because of the suited ace and I have good potential. And you can see I flop a very strong hand here. The nut straight to the 9 and a nut flush draw. So I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. Alright, so here I go for a check raise because I want to build a pot, obviously, and make the turn a lot easier to play. This could potentially backfire if it gets checked all the way around, but with the way the table was playing, I didn't think that it would get checked all the way around. I feel like someone may bet this with 2 pairs, someone may bet it was just over pair and a mediocre flush draw, but we'll see how this hand plays out. I mean, I also think that if it does get checked through and the turn card is a blank, then I might be able to get good action on the next street. But anyways, we can see that the crazy guy leads out with $10 and 18. It's my perfect spot to backfire and get the full check raise in. So you can see pop bet there. It's 48. I have 48 behind. This will build a good stack to pot ratio of about 0.5-ish if he does call. So, alright, let's see what he does. So he thinks about this for a while before actually making the call. I'm not sure why the tank. And then the turn card is the absolute worst card that I do not want to see. So I wasn't really sure what to do on this turn card. Because the stack to pot ratio is as high as it is, I go ahead and lead out here because I feel like if he did have the straight with me, we were originally chopping the pot, maybe I'll just win it right here. And then the other case is he may have had a set, or he may have had something like, yeah, probably just a set. I mean, even if he had a set of 5s, bleeding out here puts a lot of pressure on maybe he's not going to call the 5s. Comment below what you would do. Alright, so you can see he does show up with a 3 pair on the flop. You usually don't want to call a full pot raise with just 3 pair because well, that's only 6 outs. You're only going to hit it 12% of the time on the turn. You need to get roughly, what, 1 in 10 pot odds to make that a profitable call in the long run, and he was not getting 1 in 10 at all. He called, what, 38 into roughly 72, probably a little less than that, with only 40 behind. So best case, he's getting 3-1, 4-1 on a 16% draw. That's not profitable in the long run. So got a little upset over this one, but we can see turn card doesn't help at all. Our river card doesn't help at all. Money goes to him. Alright, so here's another hand where we can see the variance of Omaha. I show up with aces and 8s suited on the diamonds. That makes me pretty happy, especially with the way this table's been going. I'm pretty confident I can build a good stack to pot ratio on this. So button raises, not quite the button, but almost the button. And then I re-raised to 33, so he's calling 20 into about $40. And I have 67 behind, so that makes his pot odds roughly $20 call to win 100, 110, a little over 5-1. So he only needs roughly 20% equity with his hand to make this a profitable call. Alright, so we see he calls. The flop is really nice for us. We do have the diamonds, but this is a lot of Broadway cards, so these Broadway cards will connect with his range a lot. But we're just going to make it the jam because we should win most of the time. And then against hands like jacks and kings or 10 jack queen king, we're going to need a lot of help, which we do find on the turn. So let's see what he ends up turning over. He shows the jacks, which he flopped really lucky against us, and then we just ran out very lucky. That was a very interesting board since it hit both of our hands. That's another reason Omaha has so much variance, is because we both did the right thing, and it could have gone either of our ways. Luckily, that one went to us, which we weren't that lucky in a lot of other situations. I ran this in a hand simulator. His hand is 33% against our 65%. So he definitely had the right odds to call that $20 bet, and this just ends up being a coin flip that we end up winning. All right, so here's our third big hand. We ended up playing on this $100 PLO table. Again, at this point in time, we're probably 3 beers deep, which I think you can probably see on the turn card that we're not thinking as clearly as we should be. We're also playing a $100 PLO with only 2,500 bankroll. This isn't so smart, because if we do have a very swingy night, that's going to put us out of range of playing a $100 PLO again, being able to make the money back quickly. I definitely don't advise that. So you see I open up with the queen, queen, jack, 9, suited spades. Table's still kind of going a little crazy because of this guy, who has now built up a much bigger stack. He goes ahead and calls. So you can see we're 4 to the flop. We flop top set. We're very happy to see we have potentially backdoor spades, backdoor straight draws too with the 10. So we see a check, see a big bet from our wild maniac guy. You can also notice we're both deep stacked. This guy's been talking trash to me a lot from the other hand where I had the 7-9, and I was like, why did you call a 3 pair there? So there's kind of a little personal vendetta going on here too. I call 70, he snaps off. Turn card brings the straight, $150 pot. I have 124 here. He snap pots. I mean, at this point in time, it should be really clear to me that he has a straight, because I don't know what else he would just be flat calling. I could have saved $124 here by just folding, but with the 3 beers sitting on my shoulder saying, you can win this, you can get your money back, this guy sucks and he deserves to be punished, karma will bring the full house, I end up making the call. If this was the 4 of spades, this would be a pretty easy call, but being that the board is rainbowed, he has a straight here most of the time. Let me tell you what the numbers are. Set versus straight on the turn. Alright guys, so here in the simulator, we have the top set versus the straight. I did it in such a way that the river card doesn't really improve any of our hands without the right cards that we need. He's 75% to win. Full house will come 25% of the time. I was only getting 2-to-1 call, so it essentially needs to be 33% for it to be positive equity. We weren't getting that, so it was definitely a gambling call in a spot where I was a little tipsy and a little heated. So that's 2 situations you don't really want to play poker in. We can see he ends up turning over 7-3-4, which is the sucker end of the wrap. Sometimes in this range, I'd have hands like 7-8-8-9 or 7-8 with a queen, and he just snap shoves into it with the second straight, which I really wish I did have 7-8 here and I could have just punished him, but as we can see, I do not, and he ends up scooping this pot. Alright, so some hands later, our villain ends up building up an even bigger stack. I've been drinking a little more beer, getting a little dumber, getting a little more impatient because this guy is winning and we have not been able to get any good spots against him. And we were also down to 6 people on the table. Because of this, I end up overvaluing this hand. We're not in a good position. We don't have good flush cards, but I don't know. After a couple golden monkeys, you don't think about that. I should have just folded right here. Let me know if you guys think that's a dumb move or not. And then sadly, this flop actually gives us a false sense of hope. I mean, now we do have the nut flush draw. We have the 4s, so we could potentially make a move at a straight card on the turn. Making the move on the turn, if a 3 comes or something, probably wouldn't have even worked against the players that we do end up going against, because they were just maniacs, and so nothing too exciting, but the button does end up opening up. Knowing this player, he could have anything from just 7-8 to ace-5. The turn card doesn't improve our hand. And after the button opened, our crazy maniac villain pop bet him in return. So we still call 3 ways with enough flush draw. In our particular situation, that may not have been the best idea. It's not really showing, but this guy leaves out 15 on this turn card into 65. I'm pretty sure that's a positive EV call, expected value. But in this place, it just ends up being a squeeze, because the button does jam. Our villain ends up calling, and then we end up calling. And then the river is not the spade we're looking for. It is that 3 that we wanted to bluff, but now we don't have enough to bluff. I even actually end up folding to save my $3. And with the hands they end up showing down, I don't think we had the positive EV we thought we had, because they do have blockers to the spades. You can see he had the wrap and the spades. He had one of the spades. He had ace-6 too, which is very weak on the turn, and I'm not sure why he jammed the way he did. At this point, he's losing to ace-king. He's still losing to the combo draws we had. He goes ahead and jams it anyways. I wish he would have just flatted the 15 and I could have saved $50, but just another reason that Omaha plays kind of crazy. Alright, so a half hour later, we end up getting ace-ace 10-7 suited hearts. Table's still playing wild. Still got our crazy maniac going all ham. And another beard down. And we are hoping that we can turn things around with this hand. Alright, we get a call. This guy tanks for a while. He ends up folding. Alright, our maniac re-raises from the big blind. Kind of interesting play he does here. Gives us the easy 4-bet with our aces. Just try to get as much as we can in there so that we can just snap off on the flop and we can play our edge. In a certain situation, we end up finding ourselves 65-35% pre-flop. So let's see what this flop is. Alright, flop looks pretty innocent enough. It's very spread out. We don't really expect him to show up with many king 4s, king 5s, pocket 5s. He could potentially have pocket kings here, in which case we would be a slight underdog, probably 60-40. Regardless of the case, we got $99 in the middle, only 52 behind. That gives us 3-to-1 odds on any kind of call. We only need 33% equity. In most hands, we're going to find ourselves at least 33% to win. We can see he does shove, gives us the easy call. Turn card doesn't seem to improve our hand at all. River card definitely doesn't improve our hand at all. And in this particular case, he does actually have the king 4. This is an interesting hand to play for $50 pre-flop. But since he is double suited in black and I have any of the suits covered, it was a 65-35% hand. Essentially, we both played it right on every street. I don't know if I would do this. Let me know. Let me know if you guys would play this for $100. All right, the 100 PLO fun continues. The beer continues. The downswing continues. We show up with ace-6, 8-9, decent connectors, suited spades. Living the dream in this maniac table. Alright, we get multiple calls. Let's just build up that pot even more. Our fun little maniac decides he wants to go to the moon. Get a 22. What does he do? We actually really like our hand multi-way because we do have decent connectors. We do have a nut on the spades. So this should be an easy call for us, especially if he calls, which he does. Oh, I guess I decided to jam it just because why not, golden monkey style. Probably shouldn't have done that. Let me know if you guys would have done that. The even worse thing about this jam here was it pushed these two out of the pot. I should have just flatted it. That way you have even more pot odds if I do get a decent draw on the flop. As we can see from this flop, I really don't have any draw, except the 5 does make a straight. So we're not completely dead. Don't have any backdoors. Don't even have any pairs. Yeah, don't think I should have pot bet that. Be careful with golden monkeys and playing this game. He shows up with the nut diamonds and the kings, and he takes it down with just the kings. Alright, let's see. We got 3 Broadway cards, a suited ace. At this point in time, I don't know what I'm going to do. Don't know what I'm going to do. A little tilted, downswinging's going, feeling the golden monkeys. We open it up. That seems okay. What do we got? Person's in the tank. Got some folds. We really, our maniac is at $600 now. Crazy maniac, and just hitting all the pots against us. Get a 3-bet and a call. We like our hand multi-way. I may just end up re-raising here again because golden monkey, why not? Golden monkey style. We get the all-in from a pretty loose player, and then this guy's pretty much just priced in. He goes ahead and shoves. Alright, we flop a king. We're not completely dead. What do we turn here? We turn kings and 3s against kings and 4s. The loose player shows up with a weak double-suited hand. At this point in time, he's winning. This person has the spades and the wrap now. We don't really like where we're at. We need a 10, an ace, or a 3. What do we get? And we get the ace, but it's the ace of spades. So this hand will be going here. We lose another one. Alright, one more hand for the crazy golden monkey maniac session. What do we get? Jack, queen, queen, king, pre-flop, 3 hearts. Our suits aren't the best, but we do like the Broadway cards and pocket queens. Hand is still playing, well, the table is still playing pretty crazy. You can see a lot of deeper stacks here at 358. Our maniac has been losing a little bit, specifically to, well, this guy, not this guy, because this guy is making all the wrong pre-flop moves. I like this bet, actually. Seems pretty standard with the Jack, Queen, Queen, King. Get some calls. Alright, we're not completely all in pre-flop with everybody. In this particular case, we wouldn't have minded that. As you'll see what we get on the turn. We do end up flopping a jack, so the jack on the turn is an okay card for us. It gives us enough, strong enough of a hand to continue. The queen on the turn we'd definitely be okay with. But at this table, you never know if someone has quad 2s or not. See what ends up happening here. Get a check, a check, a check. We're good with checks because it gives us a free chance at our queen. I think about betting. I decide not to. And then, BAM! We get the queen. Maybe this is where everything turns around. And we can get 2 people shoving with 2s and jacks or something. We get a bet. We get a little happy. Like, hey, maybe he has jacks and we can actually get all in here and double up. We want him to call. He doesn't call. He folds. Sad. We just go ahead and flat. Since we do have position on him, I don't see a huge point in raising. Maybe with less golden monkey, I might have just did a min re-raise and kind of build a pot so I could potentially get it all in on the river. But I think what we really want him to do is continue betting, because that almost guarantees us a little more action, whereas if we re-raise on the turn, he might just fold. He does put in an extra $39 into this hand. We go ahead and re-raise 50, which is It's only $50 into, at this point in time, around, I don't know, I can't do math. 96, 79, 39, 110, $200. So 50 to win 200, which he may sometimes call with ace 2. But as you can see, he folds. We do win $80 in this pot, which we needed after all those other hands. Maybe another 800 more would help us out. All in all, this ended up being like a $500-600 downswing. Golden Monkey greatly contributed to that, making some bad plays, playing under rolled where I wasn't fully confident, and this Maniac guy just hitting everything kind of made us a little emotional. So those are all things you don't want to do at the poker table.